Good morning, students. Today we will revise Geography Chapter 2 Physical Features of India. India has all major physical features of the earth. That is, we have the mountains, plains, deserts, plateaus, and islands. The land of India displays great physical variation. Geologically, the peninsular plateau constitutes one of the ancient land masses on the Earth's surface. The Himalayas and the northern plains are the most recent landforms. The first heading which we need to learn is the classification of the plate movements. The plate movements are classified into three types: convergent boundary, divergent boundary, and transform boundary. When two plates move towards each other, it is known as convergent boundary. When two plates move away from each other, it is known as divergent boundary. In the event of two plates coming together, they may either collide and crumble, or one may slide under the other. At the times, they may also move horizontally past each other and form the transform boundary. The next, we learned about the major physiographic divisions. The physical features of India are grouped into 6 physiographic divisions. The first is explaining about the Himalayan mountains. Second is about the northern plains. And the third physiographic division is the peninsular plateaus. And the fourth is about the Indian desert. And the fifth physiographic division is the coastal plains. And the sixth physiographic division is the islands, the island groups. Now let's discuss each of them, starting with first the Himalayan mountains. Himalayan mountains are stretched over the northern borders of India. These mountain ranges run in a west to east direction from the Indus to the Brahmaputra. The Himalaya consists of 3 parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. The northernmost range is known as the Great or Inner Himalayas. The northernmost range is known as the Himadri, or else it is also known as Inner Himalayas. It is the most continuous range, consisting of the loftiest peaks with an average height of 6,000 meters. The falls of the Great Himalayas are asymmetrical in nature. The core of this part of Himalayas is composed of granite. The range lying to the south of the Himadri forms the most rugged mountain system, and it is known as Himachal or Lesser Himalayas. And the outermost range is called the Shivaliks. These ranges are composed of unconsolidated sediments. The longitudinal valley lying between Lesser Himalayas and the Shivaliks are known as dunes. Dehradun, Kotli Dune, and Patli Dune are some of the well-known dunes. The Himalayas have also been divided on the basis of regions from west to east. The part of Himalayas lying between the Indus and Satluj has been traditionally known as the Punjab Himalaya, but it is also known regionally as Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya from west to east, respectively. The parts of the Himalayas lying between Satluj and Kali rivers are known as Kumaon Himalayas. Then the Kali and Teesta rivers divide the Nepal Himalayas. So the area lying between Kali and Teesta rivers is known as Nepal Himalayas. The Kali and Teesta rivers divide the Nepal Himalayas, and the part lying between Teesta and Dihang rivers are known as Assam Himalayas. The Brahmaputra marks the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas. Beyond the Dihang Gorge, the Himalayas bend sharply to the south and spread along the eastern boundary of India, which is known as Purvachal, or the eastern hills and mountains. The Purvachal comprises the Patki Hills, the Naka Hills, the Manipur Hills, and the Mizo Hills. Next, we learned about the northern plains. The northern plains has been formed by the interplay of three rivers, the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, and along with their tributaries. It spreads over an area of 7 lakh square kilometer. The northern plain is broadly divided into three sections. The first is the western part of the northern plain is referred to as the Punjab plains. This plain is formed by the Indus and its tributaries, that is the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Beas, and the Satluj. The second is the Ganga plain. The Ganga plain extends between Ghaggar and Teesta rivers. It spread over the states of North India, specifically Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, then Bihar, partly Jharkhand, and West Bengal. The Brahmaputra plain lies in the state of Assam. According to the variation in elevation points, the northern plains can be divided into four regions. The rivers, after descending from the mountains, deposit pebbles in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 kilometers in width, lying parallel to the slopes of the Shivaliks, which is known as Bhabar. All the streams disappear in the Bhabar belt. The streams and rivers re-emerge and create a wet, swampy, and marshy region known as Terri. The largest part of the northern plain is formed of older alluvium. It lies above the floodplains of the rivers and presents a terrace-like feature is known as Bhangar. The soil in the Bhangar region contains calcareous deposits and it is known as Khangar. The newer, younger deposits of the floodplains are called Khadar. Then we learned about the third physiographic division, explaining about the peninsular plateau. The peninsular plateau, it is a tableland composed of the old crystalline, igneous, and metamorphic rocks. It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land. One of the distinct features of the peninsular plateau is the black soil area known as Deccan Trap. This plateau consists of two divisions, the Central Highland and the Deccan Plateau. The Central Highlands, the part of the peninsular plateau lying to the north of the Narmada River, covering a major area of the Malwa Plateau, is known as the Central Highlands. The eastward extension of this plateau are locally known as Bundelkhand and Bagalkhand. Next is explaining about the Deccan Plateau. It is a triangular landmass that lies to the south of the river Narmada. An extension of the plateau is also visible in the northeast, which is known as the Meghalaya, then Karbi Anklong Plateau, and North Kachar Hills. The western and the eastern Ghats mark the western and eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau respectively. Western Ghat and Eastern Ghats. Let's analyze now the difference between Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Western Ghats lies parallel to the western coast. Western Ghats are continuous and can be crossed only through passes. Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats. Their average elevation is 900 to 1600 meters. Anemudi is the highest peak in the Western Ghats. Next is about Eastern Ghats. The Eastern Ghats stretch from the Mahanadi Valley to the Nigris in the south. They are discontinuous and irregular. They can be dissected by rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. Their average elevation is 600 meters. Mahendragiri is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats. Next, we learned about the Indian deserts. The Indian deserts lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills. It is a sandy, plain-covered area with sand dunes. This region receives very low rainfall below 150 millimeter per year. It has a dry climate with low vegetation cover. Next, we learned about the coastal plains. A coastal plain is a flat, low-lying piece of land next to the ocean. To the east and west of the peninsular plateau, two narrow strips of plain lands are found, which are respectively called Eastern Coastal Plain and Western Coastal Plain. Eastern Coastal Plain. The Eastern Coastal Plain is a wide stretch of landmass lying between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. In the northern part, it is referred to as the Northern Sircar, while the southern part, it is known as the Coromandel Coast. Large rivers such as the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri have formed extensive delta on this coast. Lake Chilka is an important feature along the eastern coast. Then we learned about the western coast. The western coast is sandwiched between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It is a narrow plain and consisted of three sections, that is the Konkan coast, the Kannad plain and the Malabar coast. The northern part of the coast is called the Konkan coast, that is between Mumbai to Goa. And the central part is called as the Kannad Plain. The southern stretch is referred as the Malabar coast. Then we learned about the island groups of India. Here specifically we learned about Lakshadweep Islands and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. An island is a piece of subcontinental land that is surrounded by water. Lakshadweep Island group is composed of small coral islands which were earlier known as Laccadive, Minicoy, and Amandeep. The entire group of islands is divided into two broad categories: the Andaman in the north and Nicobar in the south. These islands lies close to the equator and experience equatorial climate and have thick forest cover. The diverse physical features of India have immense future possibilities of development because of the following reasons. The first is the mountains are the major sources of water and forest wealth. The northern plains are the granaries of the country. They provide the base for early civilizations. The plateau is a storehouse of minerals which has played a crucial role in the industrialization of India. And finally, the coastal region and island groups provide sites for fishing and port activities. By this, I concluded the summary of the chapter, Physical Features of India. Thank you, students. Have a good day ahead.